Let's get straight to the point. Number 8. When just being tired might actually be your brain filing a complaint. We all have that moment when we wake up feeling like a phone with 2% battery and no charger in sight. Most people chalk it up to being tired, long day, or Netflix decided to release all episodes at once. But sometimes persistent fatigue isn't just exhaustion. It can be a major sign of depression or anxiety quietly pulling wires in the background. When your brain is overloaded, stressed, or chemically imbalanced, it has a simple solution: power-saving mode. And unlike your laptop, we don't get a little warning pop up with a percentage. The body just shuts down, motivation drops, and suddenly, walking to the kitchen feels like planning a military operation. Scientifically, chronic stress can mess with cortisol levels, disrupt sleep cycles, and zap energy. If this always tired thing lingers for weeks, it might be worth checking in with someone who doesn't have WebMD in their medical degree.
Number 7. Overthinking, the Olympic sport no one asked for. You know that moment when you send a perfectly normal text like, "Okay, thanks," and then spend the next 45 minutes wondering if the other person read it as, "Okay, thanks"? Congratulations, your brain has entered the Overthinking World Championships. A little overthinking is normal. The human brain is, unfortunately, a machine designed to analyze threats, even imaginary ones like, "Did I sound weird?" Or, "Why did the cashier say, 'Have a nice day' in that tone?" But when overthinking becomes a daily habit, looping the same thoughts like a broken YouTube autoplay, it might signal generalized anxiety. Studies show that anxious brains struggle to switch off the default mode network, the part that wanders and worries. It becomes like having 37 tabs open, one of them playing music, and you can't find which one. If you regularly turn tiny scenarios into full emotional documentaries, it may be more than simple worry. It could be your brain asking for bandwidth upgrades.
Number 6. Being too independent, or when self-reliance turns into emotional Wi-Fi flight mode. Being independent is great. You can handle life, pay bills, assemble IKEA furniture without crying, well, maybe just a little, and not rely on anyone. But sometimes extreme independence is less strong character and more, I have the emotional equivalent of do not disturb permanently enabled. Some people learn early that asking for help leads to disappointment, so they adapt by never depending on anyone. Psychologically, this can be tied to avoidant attachment or past emotional neglect, where the brain basically decides, people are unreliable, we'll handle life solo, thanks. The downside, it blocks vulnerability, support, and connection. Kind of like refusing to update your phone software until nothing works anymore. You look strong on the outside, but inside you're carrying the emotional weight of a refrigerator up 3 flights of stairs. If you panic when someone tries to get close or offers help, this might be more than a personality trait. It could be a defense system running on autopilot.
Number 5. Just being organized, or the subtle art of micromanaging reality. Everyone loves someone who's organized. Color-coded files, alphabetized spices, a calendar that looks like the tactical plan for invading a small country. Beautiful. But sometimes, extreme organization isn't just a personality quirk. It can hint at obsessive-compulsive tendencies. When your brain decides that if the towels aren't folded symmetrically, someone you love might get hit by a meteor, that's not productivity. That's anxiety wearing a very neat suit. OCD isn't always about dramatic rituals. Sometimes it shows up as the constant need to control tiny things because bigger things feel terrifyingly unpredictable. Research shows that compulsive behaviors often appear when the brain struggles to regulate uncertainty, like saying, if I can't control life, I can at least control how evenly my pencils are sharpened. If being organized makes you feel safe, great. But if being slightly disorganized makes your soul leave your body, take a pause. Your brain might be trying way too hard to protect you.
Number 4.
I'm just shy, when social battery issues are actually anxiety running the control room. Lots of people assume being shy is just part of their personality, like liking quiet corners or preferring to text rather than call, because calling is basically emotional parkour. But sometimes, what looks like simple shyness can actually be social anxiety hiding behind a polite smile and the urge to disappear into furniture. Social anxiety isn't just, I don't like crowds. It's the brain throwing error messages like everyone is judging you for breathing wrong, even though everyone else is just trying to remember their own lunch order. Studies show that people with social anxiety often have heightened activity in the amygdala, the brain's anxiety alarm system, so even harmless situations feel like being on stage with a spotlight. If leaving a conversation leads to 48 minutes of replaying every word you said and why it was cringe, it may be less about being shy and more about your brain trying way too hard to keep you socially alive.
Number 3. I'm not angry, I'm just irritated by literally everything. When the fuse is short because the brain is overloaded. Everyone has days when someone chewing too loudly makes you consider moving to a remote cave. But when every small thing triggers irritation, traffic lights, slow Wi-Fi, a pen clicking 6 meters away, it might not be bad mood, but chronic stress, depression, or even masked anxiety. Irritability is one of the most overlooked symptoms of mental health issues, especially in adults who never learn to express emotions beyond, I'm fine. Studies suggest that when cortisol levels stay high, the nervous system becomes jumpy, like a smoke alarm that goes off because someone burned toast. Instead of sadness or fear, the brain sometimes chooses anger because it feels more powerful or protective. So when you snap at the printer because it jammed again, it may not be about the printer. It may be your brain filing a complaint about emotional overtime. If irritability shows up daily and everything feels like a threat, your mind may be waving a tiny mental health flag.
Number 2. I just like being alone. Or how isolation sometimes becomes a personality instead of a choice. Being alone can be fantastic. No small talk, no forced smiles, no one asking why you're eating cereal for dinner again. But when solitude stops feeling like peace and starts feeling like escape, it may be more than introversion. Some people withdraw not because they love solitude, but because socializing feels exhausting, overwhelming, or pointless. This can happen with depression, trauma, or even early signs of burnout, when the brain decides that the easiest way to avoid stress is to avoid, well, everything. Research shows that chronic isolation can increase stress hormones and reduce dopamine, which, ironically, makes you want to isolate even more. It becomes a loop. The more you avoid people, the harder it feels to return. If you genuinely enjoy alone time, great. But if being around others feels like running emotional marathons with bricks tied to your legs, your nervous system may be switching to survival mode rather than personality mode.
Number 1. I'm just a perfectionist. When doing your best turns into nothing is ever good enough. Perfectionism sounds like a compliment on paper. Employers love it, teachers praise it, and it looks great on resumes. But sometimes I just like doing things well is actually code for if this isn't flawless, I will spontaneously combust. Healthy ambition means caring about quality. Unhealthy perfectionism means avoiding starting, finishing, or enjoying anything because the brain has set the bar at impossible. Psychologists link this to anxiety, trauma, and even low self-worth, where a person believes value comes only from flawless performance. It becomes a trap. The fear of failure prevents growth, creativity, and rest. Instead of celebrating what was done, perfectionism forces the mind to focus on what wasn't. And yes, this is how someone can write a 10-page essay, turn it in, and still think, maybe I should drop out and become a lighthouse keeper. If perfectionism steals joy instead of motivating effort, your brain might be trying to outrun fear, not pursue excellence.
If you liked the video, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with someone who might need a friendly brain check, and subscribe to Coolest Dude Explains for more chill lessons about the strange and hilarious things our minds do every day. And hey, if you've noticed yourself in any of today's topics, remember, self-awareness is progress, and you're definitely not alone. See you in the next one.